Hey everybody, it's your girl Bondi Blue, and I want you to check out Bondi's Boutique and get some of my merch, y'all. I've added some new things like my mermaid cups and the mermaid tees, and also the Shake Them Tits mugs. All right, you asked for it, and you got it. Check out Bondi's merch at Bondi's Boutique.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Bondi Blue, and I am back for a recap review of Us. All right, me and my husband just left the show. We went to see it for the second time, and now I feel like I can tell y'all everything that had went down. Okay, this is going to have spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't want spoilers, please do not continue to watch and then comment about it later. Okay, I'm gonna give you a minute. All right, that's enough. Okay, so at first when the movie came on, there's some title, okay? Some title that basically says there's a whole bunch of tunnels under the United States of America that have been abandoned, all right? A lot of open subway tunnels and all kinds of shit. Back during the war, they built a whole bunch of stuff underground in case, you know, Russia bombed us or whatever the fuck, or whoever, whenever, all right? So then we see 1986, all right? This is during the time of Hands of America, okay? Reaching across to everyone, all right? We see a cute little chocolate girl and her little chocolate parents walking around a boardwalk fair, okay? I'm on the beach, all right? It's nighttime. The little girl looks like she is over it with her parents. Her daddy is getting drunker and drunker by the minute from game to game. The mama is getting more annoyed as they go from game to game, all right? So eventually the daddy wins her a Thriller t-shirt, okay? Okay, appropriate as shit, right? All right, so the mom goes to use the bathroom while the dad is playing whack-a-mole, all right? The little girl, for some reason, decides to start walking off. And we like, little girl, what is you doing? Don't be walking off. This is 86. People is getting kidnapped and put in basements for their whole fucking life. What is you doing, okay? Raped. All kind of stuff going on in 86. The little girl walks off from her daddy while her mom goes to the bathroom. And y'all, I remember being in the movie the first time losing my shit. Like, what is wrong with her? Okay, first she walks onto the beach and there's all this thundering and lightning going on and everything. Then she sees that this, what is it, like a hall of mirrors, and it's called the Quest Finder, and it says, find yourself. Okay, pointing down from above on the sign. And she, for some reason, is drawn to it. She drops the little candy apple. I'm like, bitch, you gonna waste a good candy apple. I cannot, okay? She hadn't even licked or bitten into that candy apple the whole time she was holding it. If I was her mama, I'd have took that shit and wrapped it back up in the plastic and put it in my purse, okay? You ain't about to eat this right now. Get this to me, okay? That was just me. So she drops it in the sand. Bow. Walks into the hall of mirrors, okay? She's going through it, little stuff popping out here and there, and then she sees all of these mirrors, and she tries to get out because the lights go out, and she tries to get out, but she ran into a mirror. Okay, so she's walking, she thinking she about to get out, looking for the exit sign, and then she bumps into something from behind. When she turns around, it looks like she's looking at the back of her head, like she's looking at a mirror, but there's no mirror there. Okay, so then we see her back in the car with her parents. Her mom is flipping out on the dad. I asked you to watch her for 10 minutes, and the dad is like, she was just gone for 15 minutes. Then later on in the movie, we see her having to go to therapy because she had post-traumatic stress disorder from whatever it was that she saw down there in the hall of mirrors, okay? So then after we see the little girl stuff, we pop back up to present day, all right? Her name is Adelaide, played by Lupita Nyong'o, all right? Can I just tell y'all that the whole time Lupita Nyong'o is on camera, I'm just in awe of how beautiful her skin is. Like, she had her leg on the dashboard in the car and shit, and I was just like, wow, you was just glistening in this motherfucker. Like, it's just, she's beautiful to look at. Her skin, her lips, every time they gave like a close-up of her, I was just in awe of how beautiful Lupita Nyong'o is. But anyway, so y'all, they get to the summer house, all right? This is supposed to be a summer vacation with the family. A little boy named Jason, the little girl's name is Zora, and the dad's name is Gabe. And like I said, Lupita Nyong'o plays Adeline, okay? So they go into the house, they settle in and everything, and the dad is like, I want to go to the beach. I want to take the kids to the beach to meet up with some of our friends, okay? And She like, I don't know. I'm not going to the beach. We not going to the beach. We not going. Okay, Gabe with his goofy ass guilt trips her because he's goofy as hell. He guilt trips her into letting everyone go to the beach. All right. She was like, all right, but we leaving before dark. We ain't gonna be out there in the dark in the night and all of this shit like on The Haunting. So they go to the beach. They're on the beach hanging with, you know, his friends and his friend's wife and their 2 twin daughters who seem to be teenage little assholes and shit. Okay. And then while they're having casual conversation about boats and cars and how Adelaide used to be a ballet dancer, but she, you know, topped out when she made 14. I guess she must have hurt her leg or something like that. But anyway, so then we see her little boy playing in the sand and he gets up to go use the bathroom. And the 2 twin daughters are like, why don't you just pee in the ocean? I'm like, y'all are nasty. Y'all are nasty. Even though it's the ocean. So it's like, if you pee in it, will you really pee in it? It's so much water. Never mind. Anyway, it's disgusting, but I know you've done it. I've done it. We've all done it. Especially if you at the beach with no bathroom. You peeing in that fucking water. Like, nobody wants to get out the water and then scrunch and struggle with their bathing suit to get it off, because you know when your bathing suit is wet and you trying to get that shit off, it's basically like peeling skin off to get it off, and then you gotta pee and then you be wet. So if you gotta sit on the toilet, then you sitting on the toilet and you feeling the toilet wet, and then there's sand every fucking way. It's just terrible to have to pee when you on the beach, okay? But either way, when he goes to pee, Adelaide looks around and realizes that he's gone, and she starts to flip out. She didn't want to go to the beach, all right? She's been nervous the whole time since we said we was going to the beach, all right? So her little boy is coming back from the bathroom. She sees him. She runs to him. She's like, oh my God, don't scare me like that. You tell me when you're going somewhere, okay? So they decide to wrap it up and go on back to the house. They go back to the house, and Adelaide basically spends the rest of the night looking out the window, kind of nervous like. And we like, what's going on, right? So everybody's going to bed. The husband, Gabe, is thinking he about to get him some. But that's not what's about to happen at all. Okay, I'm glad they wasn't having sex when everything went down, okay? So she starts to tell him this story about how she saw this girl who looked just like her when she wandered into a hall of mirrors when she was a kid and they were on the boardwalk the last time, and it scared her, and she's always felt like that girl was with her. She's always felt this shadow over her. And she's freaked out. Her husband, Gabe, is not taking this seriously. He's like, oh my God, this is when you were a little girl. What's the big deal? And then the electricity goes out. The electricity goes out. She's scared. Her son pops in the door. She's scared. And the son is like, there's a family in our driveway. Dad is like, man, they ain't got no family in our driveway. Shit, they had a family in that driveway, a whole family, okay? 2-parent household and 2 kids, okay? All holding hands in some, like, you know, crazy house looking jumpers. So they like, what the hell is going on? Adelaide instantly starts to call the police and tell her daughter, Zora, to put on her tennis shoes, okay? Dad goes outside. This is not a big deal. What are you doing? Oh my God, you're overreacting. I'm like, Gabe, your goofy ass do not see that there are 4 people standing outside your driveway like crazy motherfuckers. That is an issue. I would definitely call the police, and I would not go outside. I would make sure all my doors was locked. All right? But he goes outside. Hey, can I help you? They're not answering. He goes back inside. Now he's freaked out. He gets a bat. And Adelaide said the police will be there in 14 minutes, so he think he about to handle this. She's like, no, Gabe, don't do it. He goes outside, right? We all like, Gabe, what's wrong with you, bro? You black. Like, we don't run towards this shit, right? So he goes outside. He's like, now look, I tried to be nice, but if y'all want to get crazy, we can get crazy and all of this shit. Y'all seen it on the trailers. He says the police are coming. Then the mama go, doo-doo-doo-doo. The mama doppelganger, doo-doo-doo-doo. All right, and then the daddy comes walking up, and the 2 kids run off into the bushes. Okay, the little boy was on all 4s. I was creeped out by that. It was like the Ring all over again. I was creeped out. Okay, what is this all 4 shit? Okay, so anyway, the doppelganger dad is walking towards the real dad, Gabe. Gabe goes inside, closes the door. They like, damn, the police about to come. Then they start beating down the door, right? Then we see the Adelaide doppelganger get a little rock that's on the porch, flip it over, and then there's a key. I'm like, how she knew that there was a key there? I mean, most people know stuff like that, but still, like, damn. So she take the key, unlock the door, and then the husband is wrestling with the door, trying to close the door, and then he has the bat in his hand. So whoever's on the other outside of the door, whether it's Adeline Doppelganger or Gabe Doppelganger, one of them grabs the bat, hits him, knocks him down, and then we see Doppelganger Gabe at the door, waving the 4-4, all right? It's scary, all right? Adelaide has her kids in her arms. She's backing up into the living room. Then we see the Doppelganger Adelaide walk in, okay? It's very, like, it's very, like, sharp movements and creepy as shit, okay? She comes in, she's looking around the house, and she tells them to sit down, so they sit down. And Gabe is like, what do you guys want? You know, this is our summer home. We don't have any money here. Like, and Adelaide is like, Gabe, shut the fuck up, okay? Because this is not about money, obviously. They look like us. What the fuck, okay? So then, Doppelganger Adelaide starts to tell a story. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who had a shadow. Okay, like, this is how she talking, y'all. I can't do this for the whole video, so that's what it is, okay? I can't do it. That's too much on the vocal cords, all right? I don't know how Lupita got through it, all right? And she basically tells the story of a little girl with a shadow and how the little girl had this wonderful life and the shadow had a terrible life. So the shadow grew up to hate the little girl. All right? Now, right when she done almost done telling this story, Gabe is like, excuse me, but what do you guys want? And it's like, Gabe, shut the fuck up, okay? But he not listening. So Doppelganger Dave goes, ah! Screams at him. We like, what the fuck is going on? So then he takes his glasses. Hey, man, you know, whatever. He takes the glasses, puts the glasses on, and then he grabs him, okay? He starts to drag him. He fights back. So Doppelganger Gabe takes the bat, hits the nigga in the knees, and drags him outside, all right? Meanwhile, Doppelganger Adelaide tells Zora to go run because her and Doppelganger Zora about to race out this bitch. Doppelganger Zora gave her the longest little leeway to run. I was just like, she gave that bitch a head start like a motherfucker, okay? So when she runs off, then we see Adelaide tell her little boy, okay, whatever the fuck little noises, movements that they were making. And he jumps on the table and reaches out his hand for Jason. But Adelaide is like, no, my son is not going anywhere. And she's like, be careful. He has a temper. I was just like, oh no, not a temper, Jesus. The little boy had a mask on. Now her little boy, Jason, goes around with a little monster mask on as well. So it was just like, creepy. So Adelaide turns to Jason and says, show him one of your tricks. So they go into the closet, right? They go into the closet, and the little boy had this little trick ring that's supposed to like catch fire. And the whole time they were in the car on the way to the beach with I Got Five on it playing, he was trying to light this ring, and it was supposed to be a trick, but it wasn't working. So he gets in there with his doppelganger, and the doppelganger is holding a match, okay? He liked fire. So eventually, within the hand movements, the real Jason realizes that the doppelganger mirrors his hand movements. So he pulls his mask off, and then the doppelganger pulls his mask off, and you can see that his whole mouth is burned. So it's like, oh, you like fire for real then, huh? So then we go back to Adelaide, and she's like, what do you want? And the doppelganger looks at her like, bitch, what do I want? What do I want? She didn't say that, but she walks over to her and presses her head down into the coffee table that she made her handcuff herself to. And she's like, to take my time. I'm like, oh, all right. She want to take her time, Lord. Okay. So then we shoot over to the daddy, who is now in a garbage bag on his boat that he gotten. Okay. His fucked up, broke ass boat. All right, and Doppelganger is driving the boat, and he's kind of like inching out of he poked the hole and he's inching out of the garbage bag, and then the boat stops because the boat is kind of broken and cheap, and he got it for the cheap because it was broken, and so he would have to hit it in order for it to start back up. So the doppelganger is hitting on the engine trying to get it, or whatever it's called, to get it to start up, and this is when he hears like a noise in the distance, somebody screaming. Meanwhile, regular Gabe is getting himself out of the garbage bag, picks up the bag, and then he hits Doppelganger Gabe. Doppelganger Gabe was standing in a rope, so he falls out of the boat into the water, but his foot is connected to the rope that's connected to the boat. Then the boat starts up and Gabe goes flying out the boat into the water, but the boat is carrying the doppelganger around and around, right? So he's swimming and shit, and eventually the boat stops again. So he tries to hurry up and get on the boat, because he don't know where the doppelganger Gabe at. He don't know where he at. He know his ass probably ain't dead, all right? So he jumps on top of the boat and he stops because he's like all tired from the swimming he's been doing. And then we see the doppelganger Gabe come up with the scissors, trying to make him, push his head on the scissors, but he pushes his body against the engine that he's laying on, and it starts up, and then the propeller on the back of the boat just cuts up doppelganger Gabe. Okay, and there's blood everywhere. Okay, so we got 1 down, 3 to go. All right, so meanwhile, the little boy is in the closet and he does a trick and locks his doppelganger in the closet, and then gets out and put his little toy truck in the doorway like he always does when he's hiding somewhere. So when Adelaide hears that something happened with the kids, she's like, oh, that must be yours, because he's screaming in the closet. So doppelganger Adeline goes and she sees where the truck is in the door, so she follows it into the basement thinking that's where the regular Jason is. So Adeline gets like a little fire poker from off the fireplace and breaks the wood so she can get the other handcuff from around the coffee table. And she's like, Jason, she goes down the hallway with it. She screams for Jason, and he was actually hiding in a little cupboard. So he runs out, but when he runs out, we see his doppelganger ran out because doppelganger Adelaide had let him out before she went into the basement. Okay, so they running out the house. And let's go back to the daughter, Zora. So Zora ran up on a car, and that's when doppelganger Zora ran faster after that head start and came around the car. She is hiding on the side of the car, and they're following one another, but then you see the doppelganger disappear. So instead of backing away from the car like my ass probably would have done, she gets on the floor to see if she can see her feet. Then she hears something like somebody got on top of the car, because that's what they did. Doppelganger standing on top of the car. And she's like all scared and crouched over. And then the man, who I'm guessing the car belongs to, come outside like, get the fuck off my car. What are you doing? So doppelganger gets down off the car to go kill him with her scissors. All right? And then the regular Zora runs with the speed of Jesus back to the house. Meanwhile, her mom and her little brother are running out the house, and the daddy is just bringing the boat back around to the dock and blowing the horn. So they run to the boat, everybody jumps on the boat, and they make their way to their family friends, the ones they went to the beach with. They make their way over to their house. So family friends Zoe and Scott are at their house, and they have a much updated house to Gabe and Adelaide's house, right? And they have a backup generator. So when their electricity goes out, their backup generator just picks right back up very quickly, to the point that they hardly even notice the electricity went out. But Zoe comes to the stairs on the balcony and tells Scott, the husband, that she hears something outside, and he's being an asshole, ignoring her because he's drinking his drink. He looks outside and jokes and says, oh, look, it's OJ. And it's like, that shit is not funny. Okay, it's just like OJ's outside, somebody's about to die. All right, so then we see their twins come out of their bedroom, and Zoe is like, go back to bed. And they're like, just because we're in our rooms doesn't mean we're in our bed. It's like, look, whatever, little bitches, go back in y'all room. Okay, then we see the psychopathic twins, the doppelganger twins, come out and kill both of their twins. And then the doppelganger Zoe and Scott come out of nowhere. I think his name is Scott, I could be wrong, whatever, y'all get the gist. Okay, they come out and they kill him, and they stab up on Zoe, but Zoe is still alive, right? So she's dragging herself, and she drags herself to doppelganger Scott, who reaches his hand down but then does this. I'm like, where you got that from? That's some real 80s shit right there, like hit it with the whoa. All right, and then she says, please stop, and the Ophelia, aka the Alexa, stops because it was playing music. And she says, call the police. Struggling, gargling, dying, and tells it to call the police. I'm gonna tell y'all, Alexa wouldn't have heard that shit, okay? Alexa would not have heard that shit, but I guess Ophelia could. So Ophelia, instead of calling the police, starts playing Fuck the Police. The most hilarious shit. Okay? Most hilarious shit for Fuck the Police to come on during this time. So then Doppelganger Zoe comes up and slits her throat. Just then, Adelaide comes knocking at their glass door looking for help, and there is Doppelganger Scott. At first she didn't realize it was him, but then the two twins come and the mom comes and they snatch her into the house, and then Doppelganger Scott follows the regular daddy Gabe and chases him onto Scott's boat. Okay, when he chases him onto the boat, he has a flare gun in his boat, thank God, because he didn't forget his flare gun the way Gabe did, all right? So he shoots the flare gun, but y'all know flare guns don't shoot like regular guns, so the shit just kind of flew off to the side, and now there's a fire in the boat. But apparently Gabe was able to beat the shit out of him and burn him until he was able to kill him. So Gabe then killed 2 doppelgangers, all in the course of about 30 minutes, all right? That's what being big and strong would do for you. Eat your Wheaties, kids, all right? So yeah, back to the house. So the kids go in there after their mom, right? But they know they got some crazy ass people killing everybody. So the little girl picks up a golf club that's by the door, and the little boy picks up a statue and pulls his mask down on some real gutter type shit, right? So they go upstairs, and the little girl, boom, bow, pow, knocks both of the twins out, okay? Kills one of them and knocks one of them over the balcony. We thought the bitch was dead. She goes in there after her mama, and just when she's about to hit Zoe, who's crying but then laughing at seeing the doppelganger Scott die up in the boat with Gabe, she turns around and grabs it before she's able to hit her, and then she starts choking Zora on the bed. But here come little bruh Jason with the statue, bow on the head, and she gone. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, Adelaide was handcuffed to the bed the entire time, all right? Then the dad comes back up to the house, and I'm guessing found a way to get Adelaide out of those handcuffs on the bed. She was still handcuffed on her wrist, but they got the one around the bed loose. So they downstairs trying to recover from all of the killing that they just had to do. The little boy says, the little boy Jason says, how many more of everybody is there gonna be? And this is when they decide to put the phone down from calling the police that are not answering and put on the news. So they turn on the news and they see that a whole bunch of people are dying everywhere, okay? They don't realize yet, the news people don't realize yet, that they're doppelgangers of everybody, but they just see that everybody's dying, and then there are people in red jumpers holding hands like the hands of America. Adelaide decides that it's time to run. Gabe doesn't want to run, but she tells him, we running, okay? This is not the time to sit here, because they know what we're gonna do. They think just like us. So they get into the nice car, the Range Rover that he was coveting earlier that Scott has. She realizes she doesn't have the key. She runs back inside for the key and realizes that one of them twins that was supposed to be laid out on that table ain't there no more. So she tries to hurry up and reach for the keys, and when she does, homegirl pops out, gets on her, and starts trying to, you know, push her on the scissors again, strangling her and shit, going crazy. Okay? And I don't know how, but she got the upper hand. And just as she's stabbing her, you know, and we like, hold up now. Like, is this a normal reaction when you kill somebody? Like, what's going on? The little boy Jason comes in and he sees her. So he's kind of freaked out by that. So she grabs the little boy, they get in the car. They pulling out the driveway, and then we realize that Zora's doppelganger is standing at the end of the driveway. Zora decided she wanted to drive, okay, because she's been trying to drive the whole time they've been on vacation. And I'm like, girl, there are people out here trying to kill y'all, and you arguing with your mama about who should drive. Are you serious right now? Y'all, I was so mad in that moment. I was so mad. I was like, if you don't get your ass out this car, like, it would have been me jacking the shit out of her, okay? But anyway, when they see the doppelganger, Adelaide jumps in the back seat. The little girl, like, y'all buckle up. She was like, I'm ready to run over this bitch. So that's what she tries to do, but the little girl, doppelganger, jumps on top the car and shit, okay? So they have like a good little speed chase where they trying to get this bitch off the car. So at one point, she hits the gas real fast, and then she hits the brakes, and then the little girl goes flying off into a tree. Adelaide gets out the car to see if she's dead, and the little girl is bent over a branch and she is dying. But the way Adelaide just was standing there, like she couldn't kill a little girl that looked just like hers. And she watched as she died, and then she got back in the car. So they get back in the car, and by the time they get to the boardwalk again, they seeing all of these dead bodies everywhere, and it's morning. They driving, and then they see their old car, their station wagon, on fire in the middle of the road. And then they hear something on top of the car. So they back the car up, and then here comes doppelganger Jason. And apparently he cut the gas line in the car, and now they've trailed gas back and forth, and he's getting ready to set their asses on fire. But for some reason, the regular Jason, the real Jason, he felt it. He felt him being around, and he felt that it was a setup. So he tells everybody to jump out of the car. Adelaide is walking up on the little boy, I guess, I don't know, attempting to reason with him. I didn't know what she was doing. But then you see Jason, the real Jason, put his hands out and start to back up. So then doppelganger Jason does the exact same thing, because they mirror each other's movements, and walks him all the way back into the fire of their station wagon that's on fire, and that's how the little boy dies. And the tears, you know what I'm saying? Like, it seems as if she cried after each one of those kids died. But then we see, okay, blending in with the fucking burgundy SUV is doppelganger Adelaide, and she grabs Jason and she runs into those tunnels, okay? Those tunnels we told y'all about. She runs into those tunnels with Jason. So Adelaide, being a true G-mama she is, jets off after their asses, while Gabe and Zora take refuge in an abandoned ambulance. So she goes back to the Hall of Mirrors. And for some reason, she knew exactly where she was going, but she follows her way all the way down all these hallways, down all these stairs, till eventually she gets to an escalator. And I'm like, they got an escalator like in the bottom of the Hall of Mirrors? What the fuck is that? Obviously, there's a connection to the tunnels from this Hall of Mirrors through some type of trap door. It was so weird, but I guess she remembered it from the first time she was there. So she goes all the way down, and she gets into like this large hallway. It almost looks like an insane asylum or some type of large school. I can't tell you what it is, but there are a whole bunch of rooms and a whole bunch of bunnies everywhere. And she's walking through, she's looking for her son. And then she sees there's a classroom with doppelganger Adelaide in it, okay? And she's like, it's our turn, okay? And telling more story and shit that we don't quite understand, all right? But eventually, they get into a fight. But I did remember her saying, y'all, I always wondered why you didn't take me with you. What life would have been like if you would have took me with you. Okay? Y'all hold on to that. So they get into a fight. And doppelganger Adelaide is cold as a motherfucker. Like just all kind of crazy shit. Fucking up regular Adelaide. Stabbing her up and everything. Stabbed her hand, stabbed her leg, fucking over her, okay? But eventually, after they fought for a while, and they were having like this montage of them doing ballet dances. That was a part of the story she told, that she was just living down there, and then because they mirror whatever their doppelganger is doing, when Adelaide was up on top in regular Earth doing a ballet recital, because when she couldn't talk and she went to the therapist and everything after she had post-traumatic stress, they said that she should start drawing or dancing or something. So she started doing ballet. And she's doing her ballet recital, and at the same time, doppelganger Adelaide is dancing, and then all the people realize that she was their savior. And that's when she found her faith. Okay? She figured out what she was supposed to do, what her purpose was. That was the story she was telling. They got into the fight, and eventually regular Adelaide kills doppelganger Adelaide. And she stabbed her with that fire poker that she's been carrying around the whole movie. And she was like, and she kept whistling. Because at the beginning of the movie in 1986, when she went into the Hall of Mirrors as a little girl, she was whistling and she heard whistling back. Which is why she kind of got scared and the lights went out, and that's when she saw her doppelganger when she was a little girl. So she starts whistling again as she's dying. Adelaide still has the handcuffs on. So she takes the handcuffs, brings it around and strangles her and then cracks her neck. And then after she does that, she starts laughing, y'all. She starts fucking laughing. Like, bitch, what is you laughing at? Like, I know you survived, but what you laughing at, okay? And then she hears something and she opens one of these cages that they have on the wall, one of these lockers that they have all over the wall. And her little boy Jason is in it, and Jason is scared, and she was like, oh my baby, but Jason did not want to get out. Jason was scared, okay? Whatever Jason saw with the laughing and all of that shit, Jason was scared, okay? But Adelaide saved the day. She picks up her son and they go back to the ambulance. While they're in the ambulance, you see Jason holding a bunny and he's looking at his mama like he's scared, and we like, why are you looking at her like that? Then we see the flashback. The flashback of what really happened was that when little Adelaide went into the Hall of Mirrors, doppelganger Adelaide strangled her, knocked her out, and dragged her ass down to a bed and handcuffed her to that bed, put on her Thriller t-shirt, and then went up to be with her family. So this entire time, it's been the doppelganger being raised as regular Adelaide, which is why she couldn't talk when she first came back, why they put her through the therapy and everything, and then she started to dance, right? And doppelganger Adelaide said in that classroom, she was like, just to think, if it wasn't for you, I would have never danced. Meaning that she would have never danced had any of this not happened, because if it had not happened, she wouldn't have post-traumatic stress, and then her parents wouldn't have pushed her into doing something constructive to tell her story, right? So we realize now that it's been the doppelganger since the very beginning, and she's lived Adelaide's life, and that's why she feared this entire time, because she knew eventually Adelaide was gonna come back and get her. What they called them on the movie was the tethered. The tethered. There were a whole bunch of signals and messages and stuff like that all throughout the movie. You'll have to see it yourself. I'm not getting into all of that because I feel like I done gave y'all enough of like the blow by blow. So she's sitting there and she's like, you know, remembering everything, and then we see her as a little girl doing the ballet, and she does that creepy smile that all of the tethered, aka the doppelgangers, do. And the little boy is looking at her, and y'all, when we realized that it was a doppelganger from the very beginning, and now you understand why she said, you know, what would have happened if you would have took me with you? Meaning we could have went back to my parents together, and some, you know what I'm saying, they would have figured something out. But the fact that you left me down here, you handcuffed me, and then, you know, she comes back and she handcuffs her. And then I started to think, so the second time when I went to watch it, I started to notice things. Like when she first came into the vacation home, when they had knocked Gabe down and all of that and got into the house, doppelganger Adelaide was looking around like she was familiar with shit. It was crazy. That's why she knew where the key was and all of this shit. So it was crazy when you realize what actually happened, y'all. But the movie was so good. I enjoyed it so much the first time. I was on the edge of my seat and nervous as fuck the first time. The second time I was watching more as, you know, like to pay attention to the things that I missed, and for what actually happened at the end, the twist, to then make sense all through the movie. So y'all, it was Adelaide, the doppelgangers, the real Adelaide's plan the entire time, y'all. She planned this. After she did that ballet recital, she realized that it was her calling to free everybody. It was her calling to get their time and their revenge on the world for leaving them down there. Basically what happened, y'all, is it was a failed science experiment in order to control the people on top. They realized there was a way to clone people, and that's why there were all those bunnies and shit. So they cloned the people, and it was supposed to be an attempt to control what the people on top were doing, but it didn't work. It failed, and they abandoned it and left all those people down there. Okay, so there are all these people down there only feasting off of dead bunnies and shit like that, and the only reason that you know have children with someone is because your doppelganger does. Your real version finds someone. So at the beginning, when I was telling y'all she was running this whole story down, she also talked about how when a little girl grew up, she found a man and got married, and, you know, found her prince, and then had her children, and one she pushed from her body, but the other one the doctors had to cut out. Meanwhile, doppelganger Adelaide, aka real Adelaide, all right, had to just be with somebody because it was her doppelganger's prince. So it had to be him. Okay, and then having to have her children all on her own, having to cut that second child out all on her own, having to do it herself, all because there was nobody regular down there, but they were human. They were human, and they believed that, Adelaide believed that the tethered and the regular person share a soul. They were able to copy the body, but they weren't able to copy the soul. So they're tethered. So that's why in some ways they can feel one another. Some of them can. Like, you notice how the little boy was able to feel his, and she obviously felt hers, because she felt that she was around. And when you saw like the way Adelaide had planned it, like how it took years and to get everybody orchestrated to want to do this and to know to do this, seeing as though everybody lost their minds and went mad down there. So nobody was actually speaking languages and shit. Like, that's why they were just grunting and not talking. Like, it's crazy, the backstory. And when I think about what that means, like, you know, what the metaphor is, I haven't read about what the metaphor might be, but it makes me feel like the people that we disenfranchise, the people that we as a society and in America forget about, those people are the ones that rise up against us. Those are the people that come after us and seek for our downfall. So you can't leave people like that. You can't, you know, leave people destitute, you know, the people starving and life being terrible the way it is in certain places. Those people always rise up and come for you. You know what I'm saying? And like, they kept showing this Bible verse, Jeremiah 11:11, throughout the movie, because when they first got to the beach, there was a man being put on a stretcher, and, you know, he had all of these bloody scrapes and shit on his chest. And it looked like he was, you know, either about to die or dead on the stretcher. So when we fast forward all through it, we realized that that man was the first one on the beach to be swapped with his doppelganger. Because when Jason got lost on the beach, one of the things that happened was he saw this man standing there like a scarecrow with his hands out, and there was blood dripping from his hands. And we realized that he, you know, killed his doppelganger, replaced him, and now he's waiting for everybody else to come out so that they can all hold hands. Y'all, I think it's a metaphor for disenfranchised people and what we do to those people when we leave them destitute. I'm not sure exactly how that Bible verse ties in, because the Bible verse is basically like God saying, you know, y'all come for me, y'all come for my people, and I'm gonna get with y'all, and y'all gonna be praying to me, but I'm gonna be for y'all downfall. So, like, you know, that's kind of what it's like. So that's, you know, that's me paraphrasing the Bible verse. If you read Jeremiah 11:11, that was shown throughout the movie, and the man was holding that sign. The man who was the first one to switch with his doppelganger, he was holding that sign up the entire time. Then it was on a clock. It was in a whole bunch of places. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all they had, you know, clues and stuff, but that's what I'm gonna draw it all together for y'all. But I enjoyed it. I hope y'all enjoyed the review recap. I enjoyed the movie so much, I can't say that enough. Lupita did a fantastic job. I think it's so amazing when actors get to play two different characters or multiple characters in the same movie. Like, it was creepy, it was crazy, it was rolling. Another thing is, that's why Adelaide was the only one that could talk. Y'all, all of the other doppelgangers were always grunting and screaming at one another, but Adelaide could talk. But I guess because she didn't normally talk around any of the other doppelgangers, because they didn't understand her, eventually her voice got to a place where it wasn't like it, you know, like it was before she went in, or like doppelganger Adelaide after being raised and everything up, you know, up on top like everybody else, like regular people. y'all, if you've seen it once, you should definitely see it twice, okay? But yeah, thank you, Jordan Peele. We enjoyed it, okay? Creep on in, on in. I hope y'all enjoyed the review. Tomorrow afternoon, I will put up Black Ink Crew, you guys, because yeah, ain't nobody about to stay up until after 10 o'clock to watch, review, and all of that. So Black Ink Crew will be up tomorrow on Thursday. All right, I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out. Creep on in.